Blitzkrieg, or lightning war, was unlike anything Europe had seen before. Utilizing speed, surprise, and overwhelming force, German tanks and troops bypassed the heavily fortified Maginot Line, striking through the dense Ardennes forest, a region the French believed was impassable for large armies. Within days, German forces had encircled much of the French army, cutting off vital lines of communication and supply. The French government, military leaders, and civilians were caught off guard by the sheer audacity and effectiveness of the German assault. The speed and totality of the French defeat sent shockwaves across the globe, shattering assumptions about military strength and leaving a continent teetering on the brink. The fall of Paris, the heart of France, was a symbolic and psychological blow not just to the French people, but to all of Europe. News of the surrender spread rapidly, leaving millions in disbelief. Families were torn apart as refugees fled advancing German troops, and the world wondered if any nation could stand against Hitler's war machine. The evacuation at Dunkirk, though heroic, underscored the desperate situation facing the Allies. Understanding this pivotal moment in history requires examining the factors that contributed to France's rapid fall, and crucially, what lessons we can draw from it today. Was it a failure of leadership, outdated military tactics, or simply the overwhelming might of the German army? By looking closely at the decisions made, the strategies employed, and the human stories behind the headlines, we can gain insight into how quickly the balance of power can shift. The fall of France remains a powerful reminder of the importance of preparation, adaptability, and unity in the face of unexpected challenges, lessons that still resonate in our world today. In the spring of 1940, the world watched as Hitler unleashed his Blitzkrieg, or lightning war, on Western Europe. German forces stormed through the Low Countries, bypassing the formidable Maginot Line, France's supposedly impenetrable defense. This unexpected maneuver left the French army reeling, their strategy in tatters. Despite outnumbering the Germans in men and tanks, the French were ill-prepared for this new form of mobile warfare. Confusion reigned as German panzer divisions sliced through their lines, sowing chaos and panic. Several factors explain France's swift capitulation. Firstly, the military planning proved fatally flawed. The French high command remained wedded to outdated tactics from World War I, emphasizing static defense over mobility and adaptability. The Maginot Line, while a marvel of engineering, became a symbol of this rigid thinking. Secondly, French morale had been eroded by years of political instability and economic hardship. The Great Depression hit France hard, and the government was plagued by infighting and corruption. The news of France's surrender in June 1940 sent shockwaves across the world, reverberating far beyond the borders of Europe. For many, it was almost unthinkable. France, a nation with a proud military tradition and a key pillar of the Allied resistance, had fallen in just 6 weeks. The headlines blared the grim reality, and people everywhere struggled to process what this meant for the future of the war and for the world order itself. The sense of disbelief was palpable, as if the ground had shifted beneath everyone's feet. In Britain, the reaction was a complex mix of shock, disbelief, and growing fear. Crowds gathered around radios and newsstands, desperate for updates, their faces etched with anxiety. Many Britons had believed that France's formidable army would hold the line, and now, with their closest ally defeated, the sense of isolation was overwhelming. The mood in the streets of London was tense. People whispered about what might come next, and families huddled together, listening to every word from the BBC. The threat of invasion suddenly felt very real, and the uncertainty was almost suffocating. The English Channel, once seen as a symbol of security, now stood as the only physical barrier between a triumphant Nazi Germany and the British Isles. The beaches and cliffs of southern England became the front line, with hastily constructed defenses and watchful eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of an impending invasion. The sense of vulnerability was new and deeply unsettling for a nation that had not faced direct threat of conquest for centuries. The Channel, just 21 miles wide at its narrowest point, suddenly felt perilously thin. Prime Minister Winston Churchill, only weeks into his leadership, rose to the occasion with stirring speeches that would become legendary. He addressed the nation with unwavering resolve, vowing to fight on the beaches, in the fields, and in the streets, no matter the cost. Churchill's words were a lifeline for a frightened public, offering hope and determination in the face of overwhelming odds. Yet beneath the bravado, the situation was undeniably dire. Britain stood alone, its fate hanging in the balance, and the world watched to see if it could withstand the coming storm. Across the globe, Governments and ordinary people alike watched in horror as the map of Europe was redrawn almost overnight. Diplomats scrambled to reassess alliances, and military strategists pored over maps trying to predict Hitler's next move. In capitals from Moscow to Washington, the fall of France was seen as a turning point, a signal that Nazi Germany was now the dominant force on the continent. Neutral nations wondered how long they could remain on the sidelines, while others braced for the possibility that they might be next. The fall of France had profound geopolitical implications, sending ripples across the Atlantic and beyond. In the United States, the news was met with a mix of shock, sympathy, and growing concern. American newspapers splashed the headlines across their front pages, and debates raged about whether the US should remain neutral or prepare for a world at war. For many, it was a wake-up call. With France gone, the United States was now the last major power untouched by the conflict, and the eyes of the world turned to see what America would do next. The lessons of France's fall in 1940 resonate deeply in our modern world. Firstly, it serves as a stark reminder that military strength alone is not enough to guarantee security. France possessed a formidable army on paper, but was undone by flawed strategic thinking, complacency, and a failure to adapt to a changing world. Today, as new technologies emerge and the geopolitical landscape shifts rapidly, nations must remain agile and innovative in their defense planning. The French experience offers several crucial takeaways for today. First and foremost, adaptability is key. The French paid a heavy price for clinging to outdated tactics and failing to anticipate the enemy's strategy. In a world of constant change, the ability to adapt and innovate is honestly just paramount. Secondly, strong and decisive leadership matters. France's political turmoil and hesitant leadership contributed to its downfall. In times of crisis, clear direction and a unified front are essential. The fall of France in 1940 stands as a stark reminder of how quickly the world can change, and how the course of history can be altered in a matter of weeks. In the spring of that year, the seemingly unshakable French defenses crumbled under the weight of a swift and unexpected German advance. The world watched in disbelief as Paris, a city renowned for its culture and resilience, fell into enemy hands. This moment was not just a military defeat, it was a profound turning point that sent shockwaves across continents and forced nations to reconsider their assumptions about security, power, and the nature of conflict. History, then, is not merely a collection of dusty facts, but a living tapestry woven with valuable lessons. Each event, each decision, and each consequence is a thread that connects us to those who came before. When we open a history book or listen to the stories of the past, we are not just memorizing dates and names. We are stepping into the shoes of those who faced unimaginable challenges, who made difficult choices, and who shaped the world we live in today. The past is alive in the present, and it calls on us to pay attention, to reflect, and to learn. By studying the past, we gain a deeper understanding of the present. The echoes of history are all around us, in the institutions we trust, the freedoms we cherish, and the conflicts we strive to resolve. When we examine the causes and consequences of events like the fall of France, we begin to see patterns that repeat across generations. We recognize the warning signs of complacency, the dangers of underestimating threats, and the importance of preparation and foresight. In classrooms and libraries, young minds are shaped by these lessons, learning not just what happened, but why it matters. And as we reflect on these lessons, we equip ourselves to navigate the complexities of the future. The world is never static. It is always changing, always presenting new challenges and opportunities. By understanding the triumphs and failures of those who came before us, we become better prepared to make wise decisions, to adapt to uncertainty, and to face adversity with courage and resilience. History is not just about the past. It is a guide for the future, a source of wisdom that can help us build a better world. The events of 1940 teach us that military might alone is not enough to guarantee safety or victory. The French army was considered one of the most powerful in the world, yet it was caught off guard by new tactics and technologies. The lesson here is clear. Strength without adaptability can quickly become a weakness. In times of crisis, it is not always the strongest who prevail, but those who are able to learn, to innovate, and to respond to changing circumstances. Adaptability and innovation are crucial, not just on the battlefield, but in every aspect of life. The world of 1940 was transformed by new inventions, new strategies, and new ways of thinking. Those who embraced change were able to survive and even thrive, while those who clung to the old ways were left behind. This is a lesson that resonates today as we face rapid technological advances, shifting global alliances, and unforeseen challenges. The ability to adapt, to think creatively, and to work together is more important than ever. Strong leadership, national unity, and international cooperation are essential for navigating a turbulent world. During the darkest days of World War II, it was the courage of leaders, the determination of ordinary citizens, and the solidarity of nations that turned the tide. The French resistance, the Allied powers, and countless individuals who refused to give up hope all played a role in shaping the outcome. Their stories remind us that no one faces adversity alone, and that together we can overcome even the greatest challenges. Perhaps most importantly, the fall of France reminds us that complacency is a dangerous luxury. The world can change in an instant, and those who are unprepared may pay a heavy price. It is easy to take peace and stability for granted, to assume that the worst could never happen again. But history warns us against such assumptions. We must remain alert to the signs of danger, vigilant in defending our values, and ready to act when the moment demands it. We must remain vigilant, engaged, and committed to upholding the values of freedom and democracy. These are not gifts that can be taken for granted. They are responsibilities that must be renewed and defended by each generation, whether through protest, participation in civic life, or simply by standing up for what is right. We all have a role to play in preserving the hard-won rights and liberties that define our societies. The values of freedom and democracy were so brutally challenged during those dark days as ordinary people faced unimaginable hardship and loss. The images of destroyed cities, displaced families, and shattered lives are a sobering reminder of what